So I watched Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and this movie, I found it to be the perfect send-off to Indiana Jones. It was the perfect send-off to this character. Now, this movie isn't perfect though, but I'm gonna break it all down, starting with everything I liked about it. For starters, like I said, this is a good send-off to this character. It ends the character's story in a way that makes you feel satisfied. Little things he said at the beginning affect the ending, and it's just a satisfying ending to Indiana Jones. The artifact is a really good artifact that they're trying to get. For Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I wasn't a fan of the Crystal Skull, which was the main artifact of the film. I was not a fan of that. I found it to be boring, and that's one of the downfalls to that movie. Dial of Destiny had a good artifact to it, and it just has a good story to it, unlike the Crystal Skull, which I did like the Dial more. And it is one of my favorite artifacts that Indy gets in this franchise. Now, a lot of people don't like Helena. I liked her. Like, I don't understand the hate around Helena's character. Like, she has the arc. Like, she starts off as this mean person and ends off as, like, this nicer person. So, she has the arc. What do people not like about her? I actually really did enjoy Helena in here. Some of you guys will not. I did. First and third act in this film, they're my favorites. Like, the first act, we get to see the flashback scene, which I'll talk about in a second. And then we get to see, like, Indy as a 70-year-old man, retired. He's, like, done working. And he's just, like, quitting. And this movie has a theme about getting older and, like, not having the same ability as you used to, kind of thing. And it has that kind of story in here. And I think it worked really well with this movie. It, like, fit the kind of tone it was matching for the movie. And then we go to the third act, which, now, most of you guys will say that this is another Kingdom of the Crystal Skull incident. When the aliens came out in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, in my head I was like, oh my goodness. Like, this is the most over the top I have ever seen a movie before. Now, Dial of Destiny kind of does something similar that a lot of you guys will not like. But I actually really did enjoy the third act. Like, I love what they did here. And I'm just like, I love the kind of story they told in the third act as well. I can't really go into specifics here, but what they did in the third act, I really enjoyed. Like, it is, I wouldn't say my favorite, but I did really enjoy the third act. Now the action scenes, more on this later as well, but for the most part, most of the action scenes are really good. Like, they're really well filmed and shot and stuff. And as an 80-year-old man, I felt like Harrison Ford did a really good job at this 70-year-old Indy doing these stunts still, which is hard to do at age 80, but he was able to pull it off. But this movie is not perfect, so let's start off with everything I did not like about this movie. And for starters, I did say I'll come back to this. The flashback scenes and the actions, some of the action scenes, you can tell they're heavily CGI. Now, starting with the flashback scene, for the most part, they did a really good job. But at the same time, at other parts, you can tell he is obviously green screened. And you can also tell the lips are not matching what he's saying. And he's dead this in his eyes. So, it's not fully there, but they did better than most movies when it comes to de-aging. But it's not perfect. And with the action scenes, most of the action scenes are heavily CGI'd. Like I did say earlier, Harrison Ford is an 80-year-old man. So, they kind of had to do it, but at the same time, it's noticeable, especially compared to the original trilogy where none of it was CGI. you can obviously tell where the CGI is, which is a big problem. And then another thing, the second act of this movie is almost pointless. You could easily shorten 20 minutes from the second act. Like, for this movie, I was like, seriously, almost in the front row as well, but I was like, my eyes were hurting as well, so I didn't know if this had a big impact on it, but I was watching the movie and my mind started wandering during the second act, which is not a good thing. But at the same time, I felt like the pacing for this movie went by really fast. But also at the same time, my mind started wandering in the second act and I felt like it was too long there. They could easily shorten 20 minutes from there. But like I said, I still do think the movie goes by really fast. The movie did not feel like a 2 hours 30 minutes, more 2 hours 20 minutes if you count out credits, but yeah, but the second act, your mind starts wandering, and I hardly remember what the second act was even about, which is a big con right there. Now, at the very end of this movie, the movie makes a choice, like kind of after the third act that I talked about that I liked, right before that final battle ends, this movie makes a choice that I think they should have done the other way around. Now, I would talk about it more, but I don't really want to spoil it, and I'm too busy to post a spoiler review. So, just saying, I was not a fan of what they did with a certain character in the final act. But, overall, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is a really good send-off to Indiana Jones as a character. It is really fun hearing the iconic music, some iconic quotes again, and it's just a really good send-off to this character. Even though the movie isn't perfect, it is better than Crystal Skull. It's not as over the top, and I was a fan of that third act. Most of you guys will not be. And yes, the CGI is off, but like I said, you're seeing Indiana Jones for the last time, so might as well enjoy it. I do recommend this movie, but however, though, I do think you can wait to stream it. It's not that good to watch in theaters, unless if it's a Tuesday where tickets are discounted, but other than that, you can wait to stream it, rent it at the Redbox on Prime, however you watch your movies. I don't think it's worth the theater, and out of 10, I probably give it a 7 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all next time. Also, follow my Letterboxd, like the video, and subscribe. Comment down below your thoughts. See you guys all next time. Goodbye.